You wake up, the room is still dark. The alarm just went off. And for a few seconds, before you reach for your phone, before you remember everything you have to do, before the day truly begins, there is a moment of silence, and in that silence, a question passes through your mind almost without being noticed. How am I doing? Not the day, not the work, not the responsibilities. Me, how am I doing? Most people never answer that question. It disappears before it's even fully formed. The phone lights up, the notifications arrive, the day begins. And the question vanishes one more time without an answer, but it comes back. Every morning it comes back. Silent, persistent, waiting. Because there is an enormous difference between a life that functions and a life that makes sense. Between getting everything done that needs to get done and feeling, at the end of the day, genuinely well with yourself, whole in the right place. That difference has a name, and the Stoics knew how to name it more than 2,000 years ago. They called it eudaimonia, not happiness as pleasure, not happiness as the absence of pain, but flourishing. The state of someone who is aligned with who they are, with what they believe, with what they choose to do each day. And here is what no one tells you about that state. It is not conquered all at once. It does not come from one grand decision, one life-changing moment, one instant of enlightenment. It is built every single day, brick by brick, habit by habit. That is exactly what this video is about. 5 Stoic habits that, practiced with consistency, change the quality of what you feel when you wake up, when you move through the day, and when you lie down at night. These are not productivity techniques. These are not motivational mantras. They are real philosophical practices, tested by men and women who lived under real pressure, real loss, real chaos, and they worked. If you are here, part of you already knows that what you have been doing until now is not enough. That there is something inside you asking for more solidity, more presence, more peace with yourself. Write in the comments before we continue. One word, just one, that describes how you have been feeling lately. That word will mean something before this video ends. Let's begin. Habit 1. Start the day by positioning yourself, not defending yourself. Let me ask you something before anything else. How do you start your day? Not what you think you should do, what you actually do in the first 10 minutes after you wake up. If the honest answer involves your phone, notifications, social media, or email, you are not starting your day. You are being summoned by the day before you ever had the chance to choose how you want to show up in it. And there is an enormous difference between those two things. Someone who starts the day by positioning themselves chooses, before any contact with the outside world, how they want to be, what kind of person they want to be today, what values they want to honor, what level of presence they want to bring. Someone who starts the day defending themselves wakes up already reacting, already being shaped by whatever arrived first. A message, a headline, someone else's agenda. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, began every morning the same way for decades. Before any decision of state, before receiving any general or senator, he wrote, not for others, for himself. The meditations that reached us were never meant to be published. They were the private positioning of a man who knew that if he did not orient himself before facing the world would orient him instead. He wrote things like, "Today I will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest. But I know they are this way, out of ignorance of good and evil. And I choose not to be disturbed." That is not pessimism. That is preparation. That is a man saying to himself, "I know what may come, and I have already decided who I am before facing it." Think of a compass. When you wake up without positioning yourself, it is like walking without one. Any wind pushes you in any direction. And at the end of the day, you look back without fully understanding how you got where you are. The morning positioning is the compass. It is the act of pointing north before taking the first step. Catherine is 38 years old, an architect, and for 2 years, she lived what she described as exhaustion without an apparent cause. She slept well, ate well, worked at a job she liked, but she woke up already heavy, as if the day had started before she did. when she began practicing 10 minutes of intentional silence every morning. No elaborate philosophy, no complex ritual, just sitting with a cup of coffee asking herself, what do I want to honor today? She described a change she had not expected. The day did not get easier. She became more solid inside the day. The difference was not out there. It was in who arrived at the day. Most people believe the quality of the day depends on what happens in it. The Stoics knew it depends on who moves through it, and who you are as you move through it is decided in the first few minutes, before. The world has a chance to decide for you what you call having a good start to the day is almost always reacting well to what came first. The Stoic habit is different. It is creating your inner orientation before anything arrives. Starting tomorrow morning, before picking up your phone, ask yourself one question. What kind of person do I want to be today? It does not need to be elaborate. It does not need to take more than 2 minutes, but it needs to happen before everything else. That is the positioning. That is the compass. I do not start the day being summoned. I start the day by positioning myself. Habit 2. Separate what is yours from what is not. Here is one of the simplest and most radical ideas in all of Stoic philosophy. There are things that depend on you, and there are things that do not depend on you. That is it. Epictetus, a freed slave who became one of the greatest philosophers who ever lived, built his entire philosophy on that division. He called it the dichotomy of control, and he said that virtually all human suffering is born from the confusion between those two categories. You suffer because you treat as yours something that was never yours. Think for a moment. How many times today have you already spent energy on something that was not in your hands? Someone's opinion of you, the behavior of a person you cannot control, a result that depends on external factors, what someone is going to think. Every time you spend energy trying to control the uncontrollable, you lose something precious, not just time, but the sense of inner solidity that only comes when you are investing in something that actually responds to you. Think of a dry leaf being carried by the wind. It goes wherever the wind commands. No route, no anchor, no choice. Any breeze redirects it. Now think of a tree with deep roots. The same wind passes. The branches sway. It is not rigid. It does not pretend the wind does not exist. But it does not go anywhere, because stability does not come from the absence of wind. It comes from the depth of the roots. The roots are what depends on you. The wind is everything that does not. Richard is 44 years old, a financial consultant, and spent 3 years in a silent war with his own manager. Not an open conflict, a permanent tension, a constant monitoring of the other person's mood, an anxious anticipation before every meeting. He came home drained, not from the work itself, but from the effort of trying to control what his manager thought of him. One day he made a list. 2 columns. On one side, what depends on me. On the other, what does not. His manager's behavior went into the second column. The quality of his own work went into the first. His manager's reaction went into the second. His own professional integrity went into the first. And then he did something that seemed small, but changed everything. He stopped investing energy in the second column, not because he stopped caring, but because he understood that caring about what you cannot control does not change the outcome. It only drains the person who cares. 3 months later, the manager had not changed, but Richard had. What you call stress is almost always energy invested in the wrong column. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." And the inner version of that is this: peace does not consist in controlling many things. It consists in needing to control few. Before the end of today, take a piece of paper and make the 2 columns. Everything that is consuming your energy right now, place it in one of them. And then consciously decide where you are going to invest what is left of you. I invest my energy only in what is within my reach. Habit 3, train what you tell yourself. Let me ask you something that may seem simple but is not. What are you saying to yourself right now? Not out loud, the inner voice. The constant narration running beneath everything you do, feel, and decide. Most people have never examined that narration. It simply happens, automatic, invisible, constant, and that is precisely why it holds so much power. The Stoics called this the hegemonikon, the ruling faculty of the mind, the part of you that interprets events and decides what they mean. And Epictetus was absolutely direct about it. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the opinions they form about things. This is not forced optimism. It's not pretending everything is fine when it is not. It is something far more precise than that. It is recognizing that between the event and the suffering, there is always a story, and that you are the narrator of that story. Natalie is 41 years old, a university professor, and for years she lived with a feeling she could not quite name. Not sadness, not clinical anxiety, a kind of constant weight, as if the day always had a gray tone, regardless of what happened. When she began paying attention to her inner narration, she found a pattern. Every time something did not go as expected, a distracted student, an unproductive meeting, a plan that changed, the inner voice said variations of the same sentence. This is always how it goes for me, not that student was distracted today, but this is always how it goes for me, not that meeting was unproductive, but nothing I do ever works. She was not describing events. She was building an identity, and she was building the worst possible version of herself, brick by brick. Every single day, what you call a realistic view of yourself is almost always an automatic narrative that was never questioned. Musonius Rufus, Epictetus' own teacher, a philosopher who was exiled twice and kept teaching even under persecution, said that the most important philosophical work does not happen in books. It happens in the moment when you catch yourself in an automatic judgment and ask, is this true? Or is it simply what I have grown used to saying? Think of a lake. When someone throws a stone, the ripples spread and distort everything reflected on the surface. For a few moments, nothing appears clearly, but the stone did not change the lake. It changed the surface. And when the surface settles, the reflection returns. Your automatic narration is the stone. What you actually are, more stable, more capable, more whole than the voice claims, is the lake. A broader perspective here, the story you are telling yourself right now. Will it matter 5 years from now? The weight you carry from that narration, that sense of, this is always how it goes for me. Is it a description of reality or a mental habit you never actually chose to have? The next time you feel the weight of the day for no apparent reason, pause. Ask yourself, what am I telling myself about this? Not to change the answer immediately, just to see it. Because you cannot edit a narration you have never seen. I am the narrator of my own story, and narrators can rewrite. Habit 4. Treat caring for yourself as a duty, not a luxury. Have you ever postponed something important to you because something more urgent came up for someone else? Not once. How many times this week alone? There is a silent belief many people carry without ever having consciously chosen it, that taking care of yourself is selfishness. That placing your own needs at some level of priority means failing the people around you. It is one of the most well-intentioned lies that exists. Heracles, a Stoic philosopher of the 2nd century, almost unknown outside academic circles, developed the concept of circles of concern. The idea is simple and powerful. You are at the center of a series of concentric circles. The innermost circle is yourself. Then comes your family, your friends, your community, humanity, and Heracles was explicit. You cannot genuinely expand outward to the other circles if the innermost circle is empty. This is not metaphor, it is structure. Think of an unlit candle trying to light another candle. It does not work. Only someone who carries a flame can pass one on. Now think of a garden of seeds. If you do not water the roots, if you do not nourish the soil, if you do not protect the space where things grow, it does not matter how much you want the garden to flourish. It will not for lack of desire, for lack of care for what sustains everything. You are the garden, and the garden needs tending before it can give fruit to others. Daniel is 36 years old, a physician. and spent the last 4 years building the practice of his dreams while quietly destroying his own health. Not dramatically, silently. Sleeping less than he needed, eating in the hallway between appointments. Canceling the gym, canceling friends, canceling himself. When he finally stopped to look, he noticed something disturbing. He was an expert at caring for others and had never learned to include himself on that list. The turning point did not come from a crisis. It came from a question one of his patients, without realizing it, asked out loud during an appointment, "Doctor, are you okay?" He did not know how to answer. Musonius Rufus said the philosopher must care for the body with the same seriousness as the mind, because both are instruments of the same work. Not vanity, not excess. The discipline of preservation. The athlete who neglects the body loses the ability to compete. The human being who neglects themselves loses the ability to be present for themselves and for the people who matter. What you call generosity is sometimes, in truth, self-neglect disguised as virtue. The redirecting question here is not, how do I take better care of myself? It is, what does this require me to become? Someone who treats their own well-being as a duty, not as a reward. Choose one thing, one that you have been postponing for yourself. Not what is most urgent for others, what is necessary for you, and place it in your schedule with the same seriousness you give a work meeting. Taking care of myself is not selfishness. It is the prerequisite for everything I offer the world. Habit 5, end the day with honesty. Not judgment. Let me ask you something that seems simple but reveals a great deal. When you finish the day, what do you do with it? Not physically, mentally. Do you examine it? Do you let it pass without looking? Do you replay it obsessively, trying to change what has already happened? Most people do one of two things. They ignore the day completely, falling asleep without processing anything. Or they re-edit it with cruelty, listing everything that went wrong with a precision they never apply to what went right. The Stoics did something different. They called it exam, a daily examination of conscience, not confession, not punishment, observation. Seneca described his practice in detail in one of his letters. Every night before sleep, he reviewed the day. 3 simple questions. What did I do well today? What could I have done better? What will I do differently tomorrow? Honesty without cruelty. Evaluation without judgment. Looking at the day the way an architect looks at a project, not to punish yourself for what came out crooked, but to understand what to build better next time. Margaret is 52 years old, a project manager, and for years she was ruled by what she called the nightly replay, her mind looping through mistakes, things she should not have said, decisions that could have been different. She slept poorly. She woke up already carrying the day before. When she began practicing the Stoic daily examination with intention, with structure, with those 3 questions, something unexpected happened. The replay did not disappear, but it lost its control over her. Because when you examine the day with awareness, you process it. And what is processed does not need to loop. What loops is what was never faced directly. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, taught that living according to nature means living with awareness of what you are and what you do, not in the abstract, in the concrete reality of daily life, in the honest examination of each choice. The day that ends without being examined is a day that was not fully lived. It passed, but you were not truly present in it. No elaborate ritual is needed. 5 minutes, a piece of paper, 3 questions. What did I do well today? What could have been different? What do I want to carry into tomorrow? Not what you should have done, what you want to carry forward. I examine the day with honesty. I learn from it, and I let it go. When you start the day by positioning yourself before any notification, before any external summons, you arrive in the world whole, not reactive, present. When you separate what is yours from what is not and stop investing energy in the wrong column, you recover a reserve of strength you did not even know you were losing. When you train what you tell yourself, when you become the conscious narrator of your own story, you discover that the weight you were carrying was not life's. It was a narration you never questioned, when you treat care for yourself as a duty, not as a reward, not as a luxury reserved for people without responsibilities, you stop arriving empty at the places and people that matter most. And when you close the day with honesty, not with cruelty, not with indifference, but with the clear gaze of someone who wants to learn, you go to sleep knowing who you are. And you wake up ready to be that again, a little better. These 5 habits do not transform life all at once. They transform the day. And the day, repeated with awareness, transforms everything. Peace is not a prize. It is a consequence of alignment. And alignment does not happen in a single moment of revelation. It happens in these small, repeated, consistent choices, which together build the person you recognize in the mirror with respect. You started this video with a word, the word that described how you have been feeling lately. Now, I leave you with a different question, and I want you to carry it with you after this video ends, 90 days from now, if you practice even one of these 5 habits with genuine consistency. Which word do you want that answer to be? The distance between those 2 words is not luck. It is not circumstance. It is habit. And habit begins with one choice, one today. Being happy with yourself is not a destination. It's the daily practice of returning to who you truly are.